PlayStation had their State of Play, and it was actually pretty good. Let's talk about it. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Crossplay. I'm Pastor Mark, and I want to talk to you about PlayStation's State of Play that took place on June 2. Normally, when it comes to State of Plays, we've been setting our expectations pretty low because in the past, they've been not great. But that's kind of just what happens, you know, when you walk into a State of Play with expectations that it's going to be like an E3 blowout like we had in 2013 or 2014 with PlayStation. But what you end up getting is some trailers for some indie games and some already announced games. You know, it's not like it's horrible. It's just, you know, not great. And we've had enough State of Plays with PlayStation to know that we should probably just set our expectations very low and then end up being pleasantly surprised. And even with some State of Plays in the past, even though we walked in with very low expectations, it seemed like they couldn't even exceed those. And I gotta say, with this State of Play, I walked in with very low expectations and it was pretty good. I'm actually pretty pleasantly surprised with how the State of Play went. Not bad, Sony. So let's talk about what made it a good State of Play. First, starting off strong, we start with a release date for Resident Evil 4 Remake. But they don't call it Remake because they never call these games remakes, even though everyone calls them remakes. It's Resident Evil 2 Remake, Resident Evil 3 Remake, and this will be, even though they don't call it that, it will be Resident Evil 4 Remake. And so we get a release date, March 24, 2023, and some gameplay footage. So that's a pretty strong opener for the State of Play. And yes, they gave it a release date of March 24, 2023, but really that means we should expect to play it in May or in August of 2023, because if you just expect that games are going to get delayed, like most games do, then if it does happen to come out on March 24, great. If it's delayed, hey, that's already what you were expecting. And they also mentioned there at the end that Resident Evil 4 Remake will be getting some PlayStation VR 2 content. Now, we don't know what that means. They haven't said what that means. There's already the Resident Evil 4 VR game. This seems like it's going to be separated from that, like it's going to be its own exclusive content to Resident Evil 4 Remake. So, I don't know. Cool, I guess, but we don't really know what that is. So, we'll see, I guess. And after Resident Evil 4 wrapped up, we got 4 PSVR 2 game trailers. It started with Resident Evil 8, which is pretty exciting because I know how big Resident Evil 7 was on PSVR, and so knowing that Resident Evil 8 seems like it will be able to be played in its entirety on PSVR 2, that's pretty cool. We then got a trailer for Walking Dead Saints and Sinners Retribution. I have no idea what that game is. I never played Saints and Sinners. I thought this was like a Dying Light spin-off, rip-off thing, so cool for those of you that still like Walking Dead. And then we got a trailer for No Man's Sky in VR, which I think is perfect. I mean, I remember when No Man's Sky first came out, and then I got PSVR, and I thought, gosh, No Man's Sky would be perfect for PSVR. And then it never happened. So I guess we'll see with PSVR 2 if I was right, and No Man's Sky will be perfect for virtual reality. Here's hoping. And then finally, after those trailers, we got a trailer for Horizon Call of the Mountain, which is the virtual reality Horizon game coming to PSVR 2. And this game, to me, looks incredible. We got some nice graphical upgrades from the first time it was revealed, and now we got some gameplay footage to go along with that trailer. And with all of these VR games, I'm just really curious if they have solved the locomotion movement problem that seems to plague all of these virtual reality games. I mean, maybe they have fixed this since I've kind of stepped out of VR, but I hope we are past the phase of you can move around for like 5 minutes before you have to throw up type of stuff when it comes to virtual reality. And then after PSVR 2, we got a crazy announcement that I was not expecting. I don't know if anyone was expecting this, that Spider-Man will be coming to PC, which I think is really, really cool. I mean, I was expecting Returnal. I thought for sure they would announce that Returnal would be coming to PC in the State of Play. They didn't. They said Spider-Man is coming to PC in August of this year. And I think this is great because Insomniac Spider-Man is an awesome game, easily one of the best superhero games to ever be made. And so the fact that more people get to play that, more people get to enjoy that and experience that, that's a win. And obviously it's a win for Sony because they're looking at this as basically a cash cow. They're going to make a ton of money off of Spider-Man coming to PC. So that's good for them. That's good for PlayStation. That's good for everybody. So like I said, this comes out in August. So if you have not played Spider-Man yet and you've got a good gaming PC, look out for Spider-Man on August 12 of this year. Next, we got a release date for Stray, the kind of cat walking simulator, stealth game, puzzle platformer thing. Not really sure what it is. You play as a cat walking around a futuristic robot cyborg city thing. So if you're into that, that's cool. The game comes out on July 19, and if you have the higher tiers of the new PlayStation Plus platform, this game will be included in your subscription, which I think is great because I was curious about the game, but probably not curious enough to buy it. but if it's included, I'll definitely play it. Next, we got a trailer for the Callisto Protocol, which comes from the creators of Dead Space. And yeah, this is pretty much exactly what you'd expect from a Dead Space spiritual successor. Lots of gore, lots of survival horror elements. So if you're into that, Callisto Protocol looks like it'll be for you. I mean, I'm not going to say this is a Dead Space clone, but it looks almost exactly like Dead Space, like even down to the light health bar indicators on the back of the main character. They did provide a release date for December 2 of 2022. So again, expect to play this in January or February of 2023, and then you won't be disappointed if it comes out in December. We then got a weird trailer for a game called Roller Drome, which looks like a mashup between Max Payne and Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. And the aesthetic for this game, to me, completely turned me off. I have no interest in this game. But if you're interested in it, it's coming out soon, coming out in August, so be on the lookout for that. We then got another weird trailer for a game called Nights, like Eternal Nights, get it? It's like this weird anime dating sim action game all mashed up and pushed into one. And the gameplay looked interesting. I don't know. It's just a weird looking game, which isn't bad. And I've tried to get into games like these in the past, like Scarlet Nexus, and like the anime-ness just like overtakes so much of the game that it's fun for the first few hours, and then it just kind of, I don't know, it just loses me in the midst of all of the anime stuff going on. And I'm saying that as someone that enjoys anime. Well, at least some anime. And then we got a big trailer for Street Fighter 6. And this was interesting because they revealed some game modes, and one of them I think will have a lot of people talking because it seems like it's this open world-ish type of thing where you're kind of walking around the streets and encountering actual street fights in Street Fighter. So it's living up to the name. I don't know. I'm not huge into the fighting game community. I enjoy fighting games. I'm not good at them. I just like to button mash. That's what I do. But game modes like this always seem like they're kind of shoehorned into like fighting games or sports games, and they never really land well. They just kind of seem like they're there to add value, but they don't really add value. But I don't know, maybe Capcom has figured out the secret sauce when it comes to game modes like this for Street Fighter 6. So we'll see. But they did say that Street Fighter 6 is expected to release next year in 2023. And then we got announcements for two games that are coming to PlayStation, Tunic and Season: A Letter to the Future. I played Tunic for a little bit on Game Pass and had a little bit of fun, but quickly realized that it's not a game for me. But I totally understand why people love it and why people get so invested and dig deep into that game. So I'm excited for PlayStation gamers to get to experience that. And Season: A Letter to the Future looks like a game that someone somewhere will definitely enjoy, and so I'm excited that they will get to enjoy that game. Tunic will be coming to PlayStation on September 27, while Season: A Letter to the Future will come sometime in the fall. And then they wrapped up the whole state of play with Final Fantasy 16. We got a new trailer, gameplay footage, so let's dig into that. I gotta say, I'm super excited for this game because it looks like they're bringing back a lot of Final Fantasy stuff that I love. Like a lot of the fantasy, old school, steampunk aesthetic that I love, and it looks like they're bringing a lot of Final Fantasy 7 combat elements, which I think was a lot of fun. And they showed quite a bit of combat, not only as the human characters, but it also looks like they're showing combat as the summon characters like Ifrit and Shiva and Rama, Titan, Bahamut, so on and so forth. And it looks like they're kind of teasing the story that the human characters are the summon characters. Like at the end of the trailer, the voiceover was talking to the guy and it said, "Awaken Ifrit." So that could be a really interesting twist on the Final Fantasy formula. So yeah, I'm excited to see where they go with that. The game looks awesome. I can't wait. And that closed out the state of play. So like I said, if you look at that list of games, you've got Final Fantasy 16, Street Fighter 6, Callisto Protocol, Tunic, Resident Evil 4, PSVR 2 titles. That, to me, seems like a really good list of games for a state of play. So I'm okay if they do fewer states of play, state of plays, whichever one's proper, and it ends up kind of being a bigger blowout like this one as opposed to the run-of-the-mill standard state of plays that we've gotten in the past. But at this point, I want to know what you think. What did you think of PlayStation's state of play? Were you disappointed? Were you hoping to have more first-party content and learn what some of the bigger developers like Naughty Dog and Insomniac and Sucker Punch and all these other developers are doing? Were you hoping to see information about God of War Ragnarok? Or did you think it was a pretty good state of play? Were you kind of pleasantly surprised with how things turned out? And I want to know, what was your favorite game that was showed in the state of play? What are you most looking forward to? And as always, with every video, I want you to know that I'm praying for you. If you're watching this video, I've prayed for you. And if you have a specific prayer request, you can message me on Twitter, leave a comment here on YouTube, and I will pray for you specifically. So thanks for checking out this video. Remember that God loves you. I'm praying for you, and I'll see you in the next video.